Hey everybody, I'm Harry McCulla. Welcome back to Bayou Time. It's time to talk parks and recreation. No, not Pawnee, Indiana. It's Terrebonne Parish Parks and Recs. Amy Poehler's not here, but Jim Wendell is. And you're with the Parks and Recreation and the administrator there. Let's talk about what's going on. It's never a dull time for you guys. You always are finishing up or just starting the season, but all the baseball and softball almost just over except for a couple of travel teams. Huh?
Right. A few weeks ago, at the Bayou Country Sports Park, we had our grand finale, Babe Ruth regional tournament for the girls softball. We had a couple teams in each age group that participated there, and they closed out their season there. We have two baseball teams, boys baseball, 10-year-old and 12-year-old age group who are doing some regional travel this weekend to Alabama, somewhere around the Mobile area, in their quest to bring home a championship. So other than that, we have our adult softball program that is wrapping up in their final weeks of a couple games left. Due to weather, they got pushed back a little bit. We always fight weather, but you know,
that's South Louisiana. Right? This is crazy, but yeah, it is.
But we are in the middle of quite a few other things. We do have our flag football that registration ended a couple weeks ago. Parents should be expecting some calls from some coaches pretty soon. We're going to get cranked up with the practices for that and get some games started. We started registration for our tackle football, which is open from ages 7 to 12. Our cheerleading, which is also open from ages 7 to 12, that run concurrent with the football. And we also have our volleyball, ages 8 to 17. Now this year, we added, President Dove authorized us to be more inclusive of other age groups. Last year we had a pilot program for our volleyball that we added the ages 15 to 17 because some of those girls were finishing in the programs. The school teams weren't a match for them, so we expanded the recreation program. It was well received, so we ended up making that a permanent addition to it. And with cheerleading, we always have somebody's kid sister who's hanging out at the ball field,
sure.
and we want to give them something to do. We've always allowed them to be mascots, even though they weren't of age of the cheer program. But recently, to add them to insurance, we added another age group of 5 and 6 year olds, so that those younger little girls, guys, whatever it is, can get out there and be cheerleaders as well and cheer on their siblings. So we hope to get a lot of response from that and a lot of participation, and see where we can take it from there.
Yeah, it's always going good. This year in particular, coming off of last year,
Right.
You had more or less people that were part of it, especially with the new program with the Bayou Country out there.
Surprisingly, numbers were up. Team numbers were up. The number of people registering were up. We've kind of gotten away from late registration because we have so many people who register during normal times. And if we never stop the registration, we can never get schedules together and teams together, but we filled up quite a bit of things right off the bat. Our flag football, this is the first year that we're trying that. We had overwhelming response to that. A lot of people showed interest. President Dove wants us to think outside the box, to add some things to make the quality of life a little bit better in Terrebonne, and a lot of these things that we're adding are opening up for pilot programs, are really gaining some traction, right, and getting some people interested.
Yeah, well, I would imagine a lot of people didn't travel. A lot of
right.
the kids were probably cut out when they do travel baseball or travel softball, soccer, whatever, and they probably stayed closer to home. So that's probably some of it. But the other part of it is just having all the new activities. I see obviously the Bayou Country splash pad, but the air base splash pad. All of these are new facilities for you guys.
Right. Dean Schwest took over the Bayou Country Sports Park. They do have a beach area and the splash pad, and we do, TPR has one on the air base as well. Both of those, I visit both of them very frequently. They're used constantly. The beach area, the kids go out there, play in the sand. We are having some problems with people swimming in the retention pond that borders the beach. That was really originally designed for drainage, and now it's an aesthetic thing because we set up another activity, or Dean did, with President Dove being the sand attraction, right, to build sand castles, play out there, have a little fun, just another thing to enjoy. But that pond is stocked with fish. People do fish in it. There are alligators that frequent that pond.
Sure.
When we identify those, we get them removed. We set traps, we set bait lines to get them done. Dean and his staff do an excellent job with that. But during our softball tournament, last week we had kids that were swimming past.
It was hot.
Past the area, and everybody wants to have fun and have a good time, but we have to also consider safety. So, if the parents can keep a better eye on that. It was designed to be able to wade at the edge of it and not really swim out in the pond. And
we're not missing anybody, are we?
Right now, while they have fish stocked in the pond, I mean, the alligators are eating as they come in. Yeah. But when we get to the hotter times, and once the fish are depleted, we may start to, encounter some a greater presence in there with some nuisance gators. So please, if you bring your kids to the Bayou country, be mindful of the ponds
absolutely.
And the gators.
It's a good problem to have. It's a beautiful place and a great facility. Pickleball. I know a lot of guys my age are now starting to play this pickleball. I'm like, I don't even know what this is, but actually it's catching on around the country.
Trying to stay active. It's similar to tennis. The ball's a little bit lighter, so it doesn't go as far. It's a modified tennis court, but it's usually, it's played outdoors, but in Terrebonne we have it indoors at some gyms. It's offered Tuesday at Bayou Black from 5 to 8:30, Wednesday at East Houma from 5 to 9, and on Sunday, which is the biggest turnout day, just for people to get out there and stay active, it's from noon to 5 at East Houma. And those guys and gals get out there and, give it a whirl, and lots of fun to be had. So we're trying these new pilot programs and things to do, so that there's something for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Jim, I appreciate it with Parks and Recreation here in Terrebonne Parish. That'll do it for this edition of Bayou Time. We'll be right back with more right here on HTV.